Till now, only 23 students have joined. I'll be giving the brief introduction about this. Recall about the module 2. Let them join later. In module 2, till now we have seen the working principle and construction of an auto transformer, copper saving, construction of three-phase transformer, and various types of connections and parallel operation of three-phase and single-phase transformers. These are the topics till now we have covered. And today we are going to see the tap changing transformers, which is otherwise called as voltage regulators. And voltage regulators is a different part. I will tell that later in next class or something else. And we are going to solve some problems today based on parallel operation and equivalent circuit of a transformer. Okay. So these are about auto transformers, copper saving. So I have posted the videos in Google Classroom. For A section students also, it will be shared in your concerned Google Classroom. Kindly go through the link. Google Drive link would have been shared. Please go through that. If you have any doubt, please don't hesitate. Please contact me or HOD sir. So today we are going to see a problem based on a connection of three-phase transformer. And before going to that, you should be knowing the relationship between phase voltage and line voltage, phase current and line current in different connections. In delta connections, what is the relationship between phase and line voltages? And in star connection, what is the relationship between line and phase voltages? Those details you should be aware before going to that problem. A bigger problem, we will solve that today. It may be asked in even 15 marks question. It has 4 subdivisions. I'll first complete tap changing transformer theory part. Then we will move to the auto problems. Okay. So this is today's topic: tap changing transformer. From the name itself, you can understand what it could be. The difference between a 2-winding transformer and an auto transformer is, in 2-winding transformer, the output voltage is always fixed. It is based on the number of turns. You know that very well. For example, if it is a step-down transformer, primary side I have 200 turns, secondary side I have 100 turns. This transformer is designed with EMF per turn ratio of 1 volt. Okay. The EMF per turn ratio will be kept constant for primary as well as secondary. If you measure EMF per turn in the primary side and the answer is 100, for example, 1 turn you are getting 1 volt, the same will be applied in the secondary side. Secondary side will also be having the same EMF per turn ratio. Okay, don't get confused with EMF per turn and the transformation ratio. These two are different. Okay, I have derived an equation for that and explained that in the previous sessions. Please go through that. Okay, EMF per turn is different from transformation ratio. Okay, for a transformer, EMF per turn is constant. Okay, in the primary side as well as secondary side. Whatever you have in the primary side, the same will be in the secondary side. Okay, the voltage ratings may be varying, but this term, EMF per turn, voltage per turn will be remaining constant. Okay. So for a fixed, for a 2-winding transformer, the output voltage is always fixed. For example, if you have 100 turns, you will be getting 100 volts. If you have 200 turns, you will be getting 200 volts. Based on number of turns, the output voltage is fixed. But in auto transformer, we have a lot of tappings around the transformer. So where you connect the contactor, till that you will be having induced EMF. For example, if you start from 0 turns to 100 turns, out of a 300 volts auto transformer, 0 to 100, if you keep the contactor at 100, then you will be getting a load voltage of 100 volts. Okay. For example, look at this diagram. An auto transformer will be looking like this, a circle. You will get a knob on the transformer that you can rotate. This can be rotated, okay. So this will have an arrow mark that indicates the position of contactor, okay. And this point is 0. When you keep the arrow mark at this point, the output voltage will be 0, okay. And when you keep that here at this point, if you put the keep the arrow mark at this point, it will be 300. Okay. So when you keep it here, it will be 0. And when you keep it here, it will be 300. And out of this, you can keep the contactor anywhere you wish. If I keep the contactor at this point, arrow mark is here, I'll be getting around 120 volts. So what you are actually doing is, you are selecting the secondary number of turns, the number of turns in the secondary winding. So from this point to this point, these coils alone will be, the coils located at that point alone will be connected across the load. So this only will be connected across the load. Do you understand? But in a 2-winding transformer, you cannot do that. This selection, you cannot do this. For example, if you keep the contactor at this point, you will be getting voltage from this to this. Okay, so now you are getting full voltage, full induced EMF. This is what the major difference between an 2-winding transformer and an auto transformer. Okay, so from this, what we are concluding is the change in voltage is affected by changing the number of turns. So look at the first point. The change of voltage is affected by changing the number of turns of the transformer provided with taps. So it is very evident. So with this example, so we can understand, based on number of turns, the output voltage is decided. Okay. So for in a practical transformer, look at this diagram. This is a 3-phase delta to star connected transformer. Okay. So I get a supply from somewhere else that is given to a delta connected primary winding. The secondary winding is star connected. The load is connected across the secondary terminals. Okay. There are totally 6 loads. Assume only we have 6 loads now. Okay. So also assume the transformer is fully loaded. Okay. The transformer is fully loaded. And look at this condition, second condition. Now, out of 6 bulbs, 2 are cut off. The switches, look at the switches. Initially, all the switches are closed. This part. Okay. Now, 2 switches are open. That means these 2 loads are disconnected from the circuit. So what will happen now inside the transformer is a sudden change of output voltage will occur. Okay, and also the sudden change of current will also occur. It is not desired for any machine that current or voltage should be abruptly changing. It should not be happening in a very high speed. Okay, so what this will happen in practical transformers also. for high rated, for example, power transformers, we will use this tap changing transformers for meeting this sudden change, for quenching this change. Okay, so with the help of a tap changing transformer, we can vary the output voltage of a fixed voltage transformer manually. For example, look at this. Out of these six, when all the six bulbs are glowing, we will be giving the entire voltage. But here we require only the supply for only 4 bulbs. Now the voltage may be reduced. Since these first 3 bulbs are connected in the same line, the second, for example, let us give name for this so that you can understand better. This is R phase, Y phase, and B phase. Between R and B, we have connected 3 loads which are same as that of the previous case. But between R and Y, initially we were connecting 3 lamps, now it is only 1. So now there will be a unbalanced voltage condition will occur, isn't it? Here it will be receiving different current value and here it will be receiving different current value. Okay, based on the load, the current will vary. That you know very well. Okay. So these conditions can be avoided by using tap changing transformers. Okay. So there are two types of tap changing transformers. One is off load tap changing transformer. Another one is on load tap changing transformer. Okay. So it is a fixed transformer. Look at this diagram. Here, a tappings are being provided. This point for this phase, let us give names for this: R phase, Y phase, and B phase. Okay, and tappings on R phase is connected here, and tappings for B phase is given here. Okay, so based on the load requirement in the secondary side, these tappings can be adjusted. For example, if I keep that here, I'll show with the different diagram. Look at this diagram. This is an example for on-load tap changing transformer. The name given because the tap changing process can be done when the transformer is connected with the load. That means you don't need to close the circuit and change the tappings, and then you can do the procedure and then you can turn on. It is not necessary here. You can change the tapping provided manually when the load is connected. You don't need to close the switch or open the switch, or you don't need to close the circuit. Okay. Sorry, you don't need to disconnect the circuit. At the time of working itself, you can change the tapping of the transformer. Okay, so it has 3 parts: reactor, diverter circuit, and this one, switches, tapping. Okay, so it has 3 tappings: 1, 2, 3, and this is a diverter switch, and this one is a reactor. Okay, so always this switch, these tappings are provided in the high voltage side. Okay, so there are some reasons why the tappings are. This question may be asked in 2 marks. Why tappings are always provided in high voltage side? Out of these 2, look at this diagram: delta connected high voltage winding and star connected low voltage winding. Tappings are provided at the tappings are provided at the primary side, which is high voltage. The reason is, when you are changing the tapping, it will be there will be a sudden spike, huge spike of current. So this you could have felt when you are turning off the switch, which is running for a long time, which is closed for a long time. When you open the switch, you can see a spark is ejected from the circuit. Okay, that means a huge current is passing at that time. A very short period, a huge current is passing. So this will be avoided when you give connection at high voltage side. In high voltage side, current will be minimum. That is what we studied in the first module. When you are increasing the voltage, current will be reduced, isn't it? That is, it is opposite of Ohm's law, but there is no relationship between Ohm's law and this condition. Don't get confused with this. Always current and voltage are direct proportional. That is what we would have studied from 8th standard. But what I'm telling is the case of a transformer. Okay. So when you want to change the voltage, when you want to step up the voltage in the secondary side, current will be reduced compared to the primary side. Okay, so we are comparing from primary and secondary, not with the secondary voltage and secondary current. Okay, so what is happening here is when you keep high voltage, when you keep the tappings at high voltage side, these are the benefits you will be getting. Okay, I'll tell you. The first benefit is when tappings are changed, high current will be passing. Note it down. When tappings are changed, when the machine is on load, so this is what we are studying, on load, high current will be passing. There is a possibility of short circuit creation, which will lead to high current passage. Okay, so this high current can be reduced by high voltage winding, by connecting the tappings in the high voltage side. Okay, and one more thing. When you go for, if you connect the tappings at low voltage side, it will be, the current magnitude will be high, very high. That is, when you change the tap, it will lead to huge amount of current to pass through the load, okay, which is undesirable. Load should be receiving the current at a particular rate. The rated voltage, rated current alone should be passing through the load. Okay, if current is passing in a very high value, protective devices will come into action. Okay, so on-load tap changing diagram is given here. So these are the major parts, and the working of the important function of all the major parts has been given here. So let us go one by one. Selector switch. So this selector switch is located at here. So that is going to select in which tap the circuit should be placed. Okay. For example, look at the selector switch now is connected at tapping 1. Okay, we are getting voltage from this point to this point. What it means? The entire winding is connected with the circuit, which means full voltage is available. Now, I want to reduce this. What I'm going to do is, I'll change this tap, the selector switch, to move to the second position, this part. Okay, now what will happen? This portion of winding will be left, and this circuit is connected from this to this. Okay, so now what I'm getting is the winding of this much number. For example, initially I was having 100 number of turns. Now I will be getting 80 turns. Okay, when I keep it in position 3, this will be left opened, and now the contactor is at this position. Okay, only this much of coils are connected with the circuit. When I keep that, similarly, when I keep it here and here, only this much of voltage will be connected. So do you understand? It is same as that of an auto transformer. So when you change the contactor in an auto transformer, based on that secondary turns, you will be getting an output. That is the same working principle of tap changing transformer. But the tap changing transformer is given for a high voltage, which is the transformer which is dealing with high voltage, high power application. Okay, so you should know. Please go through these points. What are the working of all these parts? And I'll share the slides at the end of this subdivision of module 2. The next one is off-load tap changing transformer. The difference between these two is, in off-load tap changing transformer, the taps are changed when the load is disconnected from the circuit. Okay, initially in on-load tapping, it is otherwise called as OLTC. OLTC stands for on-load tap changing transformer. This is off-load tap changing transformer. This is also OLTC, but OLTC always stands for on-load tap changing transformer. Off-load tap changing transformer, we are disconnecting the load. In the secondary side, the load is disconnected, then the tappings will be changed. Okay, so that is the only difference, but working principle is same as that of on-load tap changing transformer. Okay, so with this, the first part of module 2 is over. We will see some problems based on this. Till now, what we have seen. First problem is a 20 kVA 200 volts. I request you all, please keep a calculator with you, and I'll read out some names. You have to answer for the question. A 20 kVA 2000 volts. Please take a screenshot of this slide. So when I go to the camera, you cannot see the question again. Please take a screenshot of this. A 20 kVA, 2000 volt, 2000 volts by 200 volts, 50 Hz transformer is operated at no load on rated voltage. The input being 150 watts at 0.12 power factor. Okay. When it is operated at rated voltage, rated load, the voltage drop in the total leakage reactance and total resistance are respectively 2% and 1% of rated voltage. Till now, we have seen problems in which the value of resistance is directly given. Okay, but in this problem, they have given the resistance and reactance value indirectly. That is, the drop due to reactance and resistance is 2% and 1%. They have given indirectly with in terms of drop. Okay, so from that equation, we have to find out the resistance value. Okay, and they have asked us to find out the input power and power factor when the transformer delivers 10 kilowatt at 200 volts at 0.8 power factor lagging. Okay, to a load on the LV side. A lot of data has been given in this problem. You just first write down what are the data given. Please take a screenshot. I cannot come to the screen again. So whenever I ask you the given data, please help me out. Can you guys see the board? Okay. If you cannot see, please search my name, Nagarajan ASC0766, and pin on that. Okay, okay, I am getting. What are the data given? They have given the rating of transformer, which is Q equal to 20 kilovolt ampere. Okay, always keep this as a smaller case and voltage and ampere as upper cases. Okay, kilo should be written in small case. Primary voltage V1 is given as 2000 volts, V2 is given as 200 volts, no load power, which is given as 150 watts, and no load power factor cos phi naught is given as 0.12. Okay, and They have given one data which is drop due to leakage reactions, isn't it? Drop due to leakage reactions, excuse me. Drop due to leakage reactions can be written as I2 X02. Okay, which is 2% of rated voltage. Okay, what is the rated voltage at secondary side? It is 200 volts. So 2% of 200 volts will be 2 cross 200. So for percentage, we'll write 100 in the denominator. Okay, so 2 by 100 into 200. What is the value? You will get 4 volts. Okay, so the drop due to total leakage reactance is 2% of rated voltage, means you need to take the rated voltage at the secondary side. Mention that also in the problem. Read out the problem. The voltage drops in total leakage reactance and total resistance are respectively 2% and 1% of the rated load. And in the last sentence, they have given determine the input power and power factor when the transformer delivers 10 kilowatt at 200 volts at 0.8 power factor lagging to a load on LV side. Okay, that is why I have taken rated voltage as 200, because they have mentioned it to LV side. Okay, and similarly, I2 R02 is 1% of rated voltage. Okay, so 1% of rated voltage will be 2 volts, isn't it? Okay. And next one they have given us the transformer. This transformer delivers the load of 10 kilowatts. Okay, this is the power received by the load. Okay. At a power factor cos pi 2, or we can denote that as P naught, output power, isn't it? So we can write that as no, or you can write it as COP, output power. Okay. And the output power factor is denoted as cos pi 2, which is 0.8 lag. Okay, what we need to find out is the input power and input power factor. Okay, so to find out input power and input power factor, we have to find out input. First, we have to calculate input power, PI. Write that also. To find input power and input power factor. Okay. How can we write the input power equation in terms of losses, output and losses? First one, input power PI equal to, in terms of output power and losses, input power is equal to can we write like this? Output power plus total losses is equal to input power, isn't it? Okay. So total losses can be calculated as the equation for finding out total losses. What are the two different losses in a transformer which are predominant, very high values? Two types of losses in a transformer. Can anyone answer?
Iron loss, core loss, sir.
Core loss and iron loss.
Magnetic loss.
Iron loss and copper loss. Otherwise, core loss and copper loss. Okay. So these two are the common losses in a transformer. Very good. So it is the sum of copper loss and core loss. How can you identify the copper loss and core loss? For finding out copper loss, we have an equation. I2 square R naught 2. Okay. So for that we need these details. We need to find out I2 value and we need to find out R naught 2 value. R naught 2 value is not given in the problem directly. They have given it indirectly from this value. I2 R naught 2 is 2 volts. But we need to find out I2 square R naught. Okay. So for that we need to find out I2 value separately and R naught value separately. Okay. So let us go to that. And what is iron loss? How can you find out iron loss? Core or iron loss. How to find out iron loss? If you remember the no-load test, you can find out. You can tell the answer for this. Avinash, 202.
Yes, sir.
How can we find out core loss? If you don't know the answer, please tell. Sorry, sir, I don't know. So that I cannot wait for you.
I don't know.
Okay. Roll number 208, divine tensile.
Sir, Kerala, sir.
In a transformer, how can you identify the total iron loss?
Don't know, sir.
Okay. Please go through no load and load, full load test, sorry, short circuit test of a transformer. At no load test, whatever we give as an input will be selected as iron loss. Okay. The output, the result of no load test, the power value measured at no load test is the iron loss. Okay. So in the no load condition, in the problem they would have given 150 watts, which is the iron loss. Okay, at no load condition, this is the power taken from the source of the transformer. That transformer source is delivering 150 watts at no load condition. In the given data, they have given that. Okay, so P naught is the total core loss. P naught, sorry. Core or iron loss is equal to P naught, which is given as 150. That is what I told you. Under no load test, whatever you are giving as an input is only the iron loss. Okay. So after performing the no load test, a watt meter will be showing you a reading. For example, it will be showing 40 watts or 60 watts. That 60 watts is the constant iron loss. Okay. Iron loss has different names: core loss, iron loss, or constant loss. Okay. Under any rated value of load connected, even if you change the load, this value will not vary. Core loss will not vary. Do you understand? So if they have given any power rating at no load condition, directly write that as core loss. Okay. So out of these two, copper loss and core loss, we have find out core loss, and the only pending thing is copper loss. We have to find out the copper loss value. Okay. So what is the output power? At which power the transformer is delivering? What is the power value? P2. What is the power delivered by the transformer? Can anyone answer? I cannot see the answers which you are posing.
$10 kilowatts, sir.
10 kilowatt. That is the power required by the load. So we can write that as P2, which is 10 kilowatt or 10 into 10 to the power 3 watt. Okay. Output power can be written as V2 I2 cos phi 2. So this is the general power equation. Don't you know that? V2 I2 cos phi 2, load voltage, current passing through the load, and cos phi 2 is load power factor. So out of these details, in this equation, we know the value of P2, and we know the value of V2, and we know the value of cos phi 2. Cos phi 2 is given. It is 0.8 lagging. Okay. So out of these data, we know this value and this value, this value. The only pending thing is I2. I2 is equal to, from this equation, P2 divided by V2 cos phi 2. Okay. So substitute all the values. 10 into 10 to the power 3 divided by V2 value is 200 and cos phi 2 is 0.8. What is the answer?
$62.5, sir.
62.5. So I2 value is 62.5 amperes. Don't forget to put the unit. Okay. So we have find out I2 value, substitute the value at this equation. Sorry. We have to find R02 first now. From the given data, we had already find out I2 R02 is equal to 2 volts. Isn't it? So R02 must be I2, sorry, 2 divided by I2. So what will be R02?
$0.032, sir.
Yes. Okay. So R02 is 0.032. Okay. So for copper loss equation, I2 square R02, we have find out both the data. We know the value of I2 now as well as R02. So I2 square is 62.5 square. R02 is 0.032. Can anyone tell me the answer for this? It's not square. I2 alone should be square times.
125, sir. 125, sir.
125, very good. So copper loss is 125 watt. What is core loss? Which is 150 watt. Okay, core loss is 150 watt, copper loss is 125 watt. So the total losses is 125 plus 150, which is 275 watts. Can you see the board clearly? All the letters are visible. Should I write the figure?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, most of the time.
Is it visible
blurred,
or
sir.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
is it blurred? Visible, okay.
Sir, ana
Sometimes
appo
visible, sir. Most of the time it's blurred, sir.
Your voice is not clear, I think.
சார் உங்க வாய்ஸும் அப்பப்போ நாய்ஸ்
அப்படிங்களா?
நீங்க மூவ் ஆகும்போது
Okay,
நாய்ஸ்
okay. So when I turn towards the board, it will be disturbing. Is it okay now?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have found out the total losses of this transformer. So from this equation, we can find out the total input power. Okay. Input power is equal to output. Okay. So output power, what is the output power? This is given as 10 kilowatt, and this one is 275. Total losses is 275. Okay. So the total input power is 10,275 watts. Isn't it right up to that? The input power I is equal to V1 I1 cos phi 1. So we wrote the output equation as P2 equal to V2 I2 cos phi 2. Okay, so now the difference between these two, input power is given with the suffix of 1 and output is given with the suffix of 2. Okay, that is the difference, but the equation is same. Okay, so now we have calculated input power value, which is 10,275 watts. Okay, second part of this problem is we have to find out the input power factor, which is cos phi 1. This is the value we need to find out. Okay, so in this equation, we know the value of input power, we know the value of voltage, and this is the only missing data. If you know this I1 value, we can find out cos phi 1. Power factor value can be easily identified. Okay, so I will write that here. Cos phi 1 is equal to Pi divided by V1 I1. Okay, so how to find out I1 value? That is the question. I1. How can you find out I1? So for that we have to go for transformation ratio. Okay. So what is transformation ratio? K is equal to V2 by V1, N2 by N1, I1 by I2. So this is transformation ratio. If you know the K value, you can find out I1 because we have already find out I2 value. But we don't know the K value, which is indirectly given from, which is indirectly can be calculated from this equation. We know the value of V2 and V1. From this equation, V2 by V1 is equal to 200 divided by 2000. What is the value? 0.1. Isn't it? 0.1 or 0.01?
0.1, sir. 0.1, sir.
Yes. So we have find out K value. From this equation, we can find out I1 value. K is find out, which is 0.1 given from this equation. So what will be K I1? K into I2. This will be 0.1 into 62.5. What is the answer?
6.25.
6.25. This is easy. So I1 is 6.28 ampere. Okay, so power factor can be calculated from this value. I1 is equal to, what is the input power? 10,275. V1 value is 2000 and I1 value is 6.25. What is the answer? 10,275 divided by 2000 into 6.25.
0.822, sir.
0.822.
822.
I'm not able to hear you. Who is answering?
0.822, sir.
Yes, right. 0.822. So that is the value of input power. So after finding out the result, just write down the data you found. Input power is equal to 10,275 watts. Input power factor is equal to 0.822. Okay, these are the two data we needed to find out. Okay, next problem. So this problem, second problem, is based on load sharing. Can you guys see the screen? Screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Read out the problem. Two single phase transformers. Okay. Two single phase transformers with equal turns have impedances of 0.7 plus J5 ohm and 0.9 plus J10 ohms with respect to the secondary. So all the impedance have been measured with respect to secondary. If they operate in parallel, if these two transformers are connected in parallel, determine how will they share a load of 100 kilowatt at 0.8 power factor lagging. In last semester, I would have explained you the parallel operation of alternators. What will happen if two AC generators are working together? How much power will be shared by these two generators? That is what we would have derived with a triangle diagram. Okay, do you remember or not? I don't know. So with that triangle diagram, we easily can find out how much load is shared by individual transformers. Okay, look at this diagram. So we have two transformers connected in parallel, and these two are sharing a load. Okay, so in this problem they have mentioned these two transformers are having equal turns, having an impedance, so which is indirectly given as the rating of these two transformers are same. For example, let us imagine these two are 10 kVA transformers. which are delivering a voltage of 7, we don't need to look at the voltage value. So both of them are 10 kVA. 10 kVA transformers, okay, and they are feeding a load of 15. So sum of these two is greater than the load, isn't it? So sum of these two gives 20 kVA and the load requires only 15 kilowatt. Okay. So it is not necessary that they both need to share a load of 7.5 and 7.5. It is not always necessary that they should give equal. It is not necessary. This transformer may be giving 10K fully and this transformer may be giving 5K. So this rate differs with this value, the impedance value. So in this problem, they have asked that only if they are operate in parallel, determine how will they share a load of 100 kilowatt. Okay, so the rating of these two transformers are not given in this problem. We need to calculate from the value of impedance. Okay. And one more thing is, what is the amount of load shared by transformer A and transformer B? Let us give a name of transformer A and transformer B. Okay. So let us go to the board. Look at the board now. For solving this problem, you must be having calculator. Okay. The impedance values of transformer A and B is given. Impedance of transformer A, which is given as ZA, is equal to 0.7 plus J5 ohms. Okay. So which is given in rectangular form, we have to convert that into polar form. Okay. So after converting that into polar form, what is the value? Find out. Do you know how to convert this to polar form? Go to, take your calculator, press shift and polar, type this value 0.7 comma 5 and close the bracket, press equal to, you will get the polar form. What is the value? Can anyone answer? Even in mobile apps, they are given some very good applications for using calculator. Can anyone answer after converting that into polar? Roll number 101. One not one is not in the meet. Roll number 110.
101 is
Yes.
110. Roll number 110. Hariharan. Hariharan.
At least unmute yourself and please tell. I don't have a calculator, sir. I cannot see now. Respond anything. If you are not responding, you will be put absent. Jeevita.
Yes, sir. Hariharan.
Yes, Hariharan. Do you know the answer?
Sir, I don't have calculator, sir, right now.
Okay. Jeevita.
Sir,
Have you converted this into polar form?
sir, no, sir.
This is why I told you guys to have calculator. Please keep a calculator with you. I'll tell the answer. For next problem, you should be having the calculator. Okay. Next class answer. So the answer is 5.04 with an angle of 82 degrees. Okay. Is that A is 5.04 with an angle of 82 degrees. Similarly, for the impedance of transformer B, is that B is given as 0.9 plus J10 ohms. After converting this into polar form, we will get ZB equal to 10 with an angle of 84.85 degrees, 85 degrees. Okay, ohms. So don't forget to put the unit ohms. So the total impedances can be written as ZA plus ZB is equal to sum of these two. First add them in rectangle form, then convert that into polar form. 0.7 plus 0.9 is 1.6 plus 5 plus 10 is 15, J15 ohms. Okay, so sum of ZA and ZB is 1.6 plus J15 ohms. After converting this into polar form, I'll be getting 15.08 with an angle 83.9 degrees ohms. Okay. So while taking about the load sharing of two transformers, I would have derived an equation for load shared by an individual transformer. The equation is load shared by transformer A can be written as PA. Okay. So the equation for this is total power which is required by the load or delivered to the load into opposite resistance. This is transformer A. We need to write the impedance of opposite transformer. ZB divided by ZA plus ZB. Do you remember this equation? So we derived this while taking about parallel operation of transformer. So this is the equation for finding out the load shared by an individual transformer. Now we are looking at only transformer A. How much power is shared by transformer A? So the power shared by transformer A is P into ZB, impedance of transformer B divided by total impedance. Okay. So put the equation. Power value here is given as P equal to 100 kilowatt. Okay, the power value has been given in terms of kilowatt. We need to convert that in terms of kVA. Okay, so for converting kilowatt into kVA, we have an equation. Power in kVA is equal to 100 divided by power factor. Okay, this is the equation. This equation can be find out from power triangle. Do you remember this equation, diagram? You would have studied that in second semester or first semester electric circuit. A triangle would have been drawn. The hypotenuse will be KVA. Opposite side will be kVAR. And adjacent side will be kilowatt. A power triangle. This is called as power triangle. From this triangle, we can find out the equation. Otherwise, kilowatt power rating is written in terms of VI cos phi. Okay. And formula for kVA rating is just VI. Okay. So if you want to convert from this to this, the only difference will be this one. Okay. That is what I have given. Cos phi is power factor. So if you want to find out kVA rating, divide the power equation, which is given in terms of watts, by power factor. Okay, so the power factor is given, which is 0.8, 100 into 10 to the power 3 divided by 0.8, which is 125. Okay, power in terms of kVA rating. And you need to mention the angle. The angle can be found out from power factor. Okay, what is cos phi value? Cos phi is given as 0.8 from this 0.8. From this phi value is cos inverse of 0.8. Okay, if you find out angle for this, you will be getting 36.9 degrees. Okay, since it is given as lagging power factor, you should put minus sign, minus 36.9 degrees. So the value is given from 100 kilowatt per power factor. Kilowatt value is 100, power factor is 0.8. We have find out the magnitude. Angle value is derived from this equation, cos inverse of 0.8, which is 36.9 degrees. The reason for putting minus sign here is they have mentioned in the problem, that is the load is delivered at lagging power factor, so it should be given with minus sign, minus 36.90 degrees. The minus sign indicates the load is lagging power factor 1. Okay, so now substitute the values in this equation. Power is equal to 125 with an angle minus 36.9 degrees into ZB, which is 10 with an angle of 84.85 degrees divided by total impedance is 08 with an angle of 83.0 degrees. So I hope you remember polar division, subtraction, addition. Okay, so these two are in division. The angle values must be subtracted. Okay, and magnitude can be directly divided. Okay, so 10 divided by 15.8, you will be getting some value. For this angle, you have to subtract from this to this. Okay, 84.85 minus 83.9. You have to subtract directly. So the answer will be 125 with an angle 36.9 degree into 0.665. After dividing 10 by 15.08, you will be getting 0.665. The angle is 0.95 degrees. 84.85 minus 83.9, you are getting 0.95 degrees. Okay, don't get confused with this. This is very simple. You would have studied in 7th, 8th standard. Just dividing angles is just subtracting them. Okay. So after multiplying this, just multiply the magnitude, add these two. So these two should be multiplied and these two should be added. Okay. After multiplying, I will be getting 82.875. After subtracting, I will be getting minus 35.95 degrees. This is kVA value. Okay, so this is the power shared by transformer A in terms of kVA. Okay, again we have to convert that into kilowatt. So for converting kilowatt into kVA, we have derived, we have multiplied this with, we divided it with power factor. From this to this, we have to do multiplication. Okay. Power shared by transformer A, which I have mentioned as PA equal to 82.875 kVA. PA in kilowatt, I'll get 82.875 into 35.9 into 0.8, which is the power factor. Okay, so what is the answer I will get? Multiply that and answer me. $82.875 into 0.8. Simple multiplication. Can anyone answer?
66.3, sir.
66.3.
Yes, sir.
So that is kilowatt and the angle is same. You keep the angle as it is. Minus 37. So for while writing the power shared, you don't need to mention the angle. Just put it as 66.3. Okay. In the same way, can you find out PB? Power shared by second transformer. So the power shared by second transformer will be transformer B. PB is equal to, the only change you need to do is this one. Okay. Load shared by transformer B. PB is equal to total power into impedance of transformer A and total impedance. Okay. So what it will be? You can directly substitute the answer. 125 with an angle 36.9 degrees minus into ZA value is 0.04 with an angle 82 degrees. Total impedance is 15.08 with an angle 83.9 degrees. Okay. So after doing all the, after solving all this, you'll be getting 41.75 with an angle minus 38.8 degrees. This is kVA. This is the answer. In terms of kVA, again convert that into kilowatt. In kilowatt, it should be multiplied with power factor. So the answer will be 32.53. Okay. So after finding out the result, you just add these two. You will get an answer around 99 point something. Okay, which is almost equal to 100 kilowatts. The difference is due to we are taking only 2 digits of the decimal. Okay, 2 digits. Okay, so if you take calculator reading, exactly calculator reading, you will be getting 100 kilowatts equally. Okay, so the first transformer shares a load of 66.3 kilowatt, and second transformer shares a load of 33.537 kilowatt. Okay, this is how the load is shared by both the transformers. Even if they are same rated, look at the power shared by the two transformers. First transformer is giving more power compared to the second transformer. Okay. Look at the screen now. So we are seeing a screen is not visible. Is it visible or not? I can see the screen.
Visible, sir.
Okay. So the third problem is, in this problem, in example 37, both the transformers are same rated in this problem, but they are having a different impedance value. This is, in this problem, we are going to couple two different rated transformers. Look at this. The first transformer is of 500 kVA rating, and second transformer is of 250 kVA rating. The first transformer is 500 kVA and second transformer is 250 kVA. Their impedance values are also different. 1.1 plus J3 and 3 plus J6. Okay. So what will happen if these two transformers of different rating are connected together? Okay. They have given the secondary voltage of these two transformers is equal to 550 volts. The voltage rating of secondary side is equal V2 value of transformer 1 and V2 value of transformer 2 is equal to 500 volts. Okay. Find the load shared by each transformer and its power factor if the total load is 350 kVA at 0.8 lagging. Here we don't need to convert the load into kilowatt kilovolt ampere again, because the load itself is given as kilovolt ampere. Okay. If a problem is given in such a way, you need to change the impedance value based on which transformer is higher rated. Out of these two transformers, 250 kVA and 500 kVA transformer, 500 kVA transformer is the bigger one. So we need to consider that as the base value. Okay. So the impedance of low power transformer should be matched with this transformer, the 500 kVA transformer. Okay. The low power transformer is 250 kVA out of these two, and its impedance is 3.J6. That should be compared with this, and its base value has to be taken. Okay. So for converting this, we have an equation. I'll tell you that later. First, write the given data. Find out the impedance value of ZA in terms of degrees and angles. Is that A equal to what is the value of ZA? 1 plus J3. Convert that into polar form and answer me.
So 3.16. So 3.16.
Okay, 3.16.
Double 2, double 7.
Angle is
1 నిమిషం sir.
if you are using MS type calculator, press alpha F.
Angle 71.56.
Yes, correct. The magnitude is 3.16 and the angle is 71.56. Very good. I'll tell you how to find out ZB. ZB is given as 3 plus J6, but we have to find out that equivalent to 500 kVA transformer. Okay, for 250 kVA transformer, it is 3 plus J6. While connecting two transformers equally in parallel, the one condition must be satisfied as its impedance value should be matched, isn't it? That is what we would have studied. Voltage rating must be equal, impedance should be matched. Okay, so for matching this impedance, we have to convert 250 kVA transformers impedance to 500 kVA transformers rating. Okay, so that can be studied, converted using a formula. I'll show that. Look at the board now. ZB given as 3 plus J6 ohms. Okay, so since the power rating of two transformers are different, you need to convert this value with respect to 500 kVA. So keeping 500 as base value, ZB is equal to this value, right? Directly write this value and into the base value which we have taken 500 divided by actual rating of this transformer. Okay, for the ZB transformer rating is 250, which we will get 2 times. Okay, so what you will get is 6 plus J12 ohms. This is the new value of transformer B, impedance of transformer B. Okay, this is a formula. This is the transformer for which we have to look at the new impedance. Okay. So after converting this into polar form, what is the value? ZB equal to 6 plus J12 ohms. After converting this, we will be getting 13.4 with an angle 63.43 degrees ohms. Okay, ZB equal to. So other steps are same as that of the previous problem. Load shared by transformer A, TA is equal to total power required into impedance of opposite transformer ZB divided by total impedance. Okay. Total load required is 350 kVA. The power factor is same as that of previous case, which is 0.8. Okay, for 0.8, the angle is minus 36.9 degrees. Okay, and what is ZB? 13.4 with an angle 63.43 degrees. ZA plus ZB. Can anyone find out the total impedance and convert that into polar form? Answer me. ZA equal to 1 plus J3. ZB equal to 3 plus J6. And new value of ZB equal to 6 plus J2. 6 plus J12. ZA plus ZB equal to 1 plus J3, 6 plus J12, which is equal to 7 plus J15. Convert that into polar form and answer me.
Sir, 16.55. 16.5. Angle 64.98.
64.98 degrees. Yes, very good. So you have find out all the values, and the only thing you left is you need to substitute the values in the formula. 16.55 with an angle of 64.98 degrees. So after solving this, you will be getting an equation, a value. I'm going to just write the answer. Please work out in home. PA is 283.15 with an angle minus 38.40 degrees. PB, write all the equations and solve the problem. Okay, I'll just put the answer first. PB will be 66.5 with an angle minus 30.34 degrees. Okay, so convert this into rectangle form. You will get the sum of these two as 350. Okay. So this is the final answer. The load shared by transformer A is 283.15. The load shared by transformer B is 66.5. And at last, don't forget to put the unit of them. So with this, we will close today's session.